How many of you think that precious metals will be phased out due to a digital currency? Moving into that digital artificial intelligence age that we're in right now has the ability to track every decimal point and zero with every transaction possible. Whether it's a dime bag in the park being sold, the government wants in. They want to be able to have every transaction documented and not to leave anything untaxed. And that goes for buying something off of Craigslist or making a single transaction with Joe Schmo around the corner for a garage sale. For a digital currency, guess what? We have that transaction documented. It's been taxed in the category that it needs to be taxed, and so on. And so the competition with heavy precious metals is that they've been a part of this earth since the dawn of time. Been considered precious and valuable and currency for all the likes. You know, back when the pig farmers traded their pork for grain and such, it was on a bartering scale. Somebody had to maintain the wealth. Somebody that was rich enough to say, hey, I want to store a bunch of wealth. Don't necessarily want to have a bunch of chickens and sheep and forest products to, hold on to as wealth. I want to store it and build on it. And so currency came in to play. And that's kind of what we have here right now. And I strongly believe that silver and gold has been undervalued because of the competition with the dollar bill. Now, who wants to be able to compete with that? A reserved currency for oil. You got a reserved currency for around the world. And if this is going to become a one world currency situation, well, then we're going to have to really take a strong, hard look at what is of value and what we can continue to hold and think of as some value throughout the whole spectrum. So let me know what you guys think. I know that if silver and gold shot through the freaking roof, became the most valuable thing on the planet, well, geez, people would start to shake that dollar and move to something that was going to be a little bit more, strong. And I think some people realize that this is a sure thing. And so if you guys want to comment below what you think the best solution is for a viable currency. I know that holding a bunch of silver isn't really typically the best means to get your wealth to and fro. So, if it's a gold-backed crypto, like China's kind of pushing, then you're going to have to, have somebody that's going to audit your situation and say, this is how much I have. I'm going to trade it in for cryptocurrency, and it's going to be all backed by gold. Well, it's too many transactions, too much documentation, and so I think moving forward, we're going to be subjected to a cryptocurrency with the likes of some warming up, and I think that's going to be, like the vaccine. People that are vaccinated and people that aren't. We've got this fear factor that's going around where it's the easiest selling tactic. You get somebody afraid, they sell their stocks. You get somebody afraid, they buy guns and ammo. You get somebody afraid and they make a decision. whether it's a rash decision or not. And I think that we all need to kind of think about that as far as what that looks like moving forward. Are we going to get this easily, obtainable chip that we have, or band, or however they're going to warm us up to predictive programming, and say, hey, we need to know who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been vaccinated? And I think the chip that Bill Gates is kind of pushing is going to get you that. You'll be able to go to the Giants game, go get groceries, and scan that little wrist ID 2020 chip, and guess what? You get to assimilate with everybody. Be a part of the group. Everybody wants to be a part of the group, right? And if you don't, then you're going to be subjected to a possible quarantine, FEMA camp, lockdown situation. And when everybody's in shelter and this quarantine at home stuff, people are pretty vulnerable. They don't really have the support of their, people right next to them. And so, you corner somebody, you get them in a room, just like the police interrogate somebody. They're not going to interrogate you with all your homies and friends and buddies from around the way. No. They're going to get you in a vulnerable spot and get them, or have you tell them what they want. Simple as that. I think, that is the warm-up for a digital currency. You can scan your wrist code, buy stuff at a store, not spread it like if it was money and currency on a potential dollar bill that could be infected with the virus. It's a risk they're not willing to take. And so I think there could be a lot of hype around that. Maybe not. Let me know what you guys think. I just think it's kind of a perfect plan. Problem, reaction, solution. And the solution is just a little feather in their cap that they've been really wanting to get at this whole time. Oh, and by the way, let's just go ahead and confiscate guns and, put a ban to that as well while we're at it, because that could be influencing people and getting them to rebel against the solution that's going to be helpful for everybody. So I'm just kind of wondering how this is all going to pan out, what kind of a situation we're going to be ended up in come this time next year. Excuse me. Whether we'll all be chipped, or we'll have a one world currency, or everything will just be everything. But, there's opportunity here. The stock market's taking a pretty big hit. There could be a little financial reset going on. Hard to say. But what I do know is that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And the value of precious metals, it's just, they just can't get a break. And it's, throughout the course of history, they've increased and they kept some value. One thing I like to admit is that Franklin quarter that used to be able to get you, a tank of gas and a gallon of milk can still get you a tank of gas and a gallon of milk with the value that it is in today's currency. If you melt that thing down, you got $3-4 worth of silver content in there, and that alone has held its value. So, you get in, we all agree on a digital currency. What are we going to all become? Crypto miners, and mine from our bedrooms with our computers so that we can all work on a blockchain? Is that how we're all going to maintain? Hard to say. But what I can say is that carrying around precious metals as a reserve currency is going to be a difficult transaction to make. Would it work? Sure. Is it the future? I don't know. I think, we're going digital, having an ability to track every digital transaction possible, kind of like being able to track everywhere you go on your cell phone. Having information, mega storage information centers that are, I think one of them's in Utah, and those guys basically have a file on you, and you're deemed whether you're a threat to the state or not, and Homeland Security keeps an eye on you. And so, having the ability to do that is worth a lot. Anywhere you can obtain or gain information, whether it's from a simple transaction, whether it's a mouse click, whether it's where you're driving to, where you shop, what nostril you pick your nose the most. All that information is key. It has value. It may not have as much value today as it does in the future, but people want that. You couple that with these massive computers. I forgot what they're called. Quantum computing machines. They can come up with, answers that are basically using multiple universes, to compute, which, stuff that doesn't really even take in the laws of physics. It uses every possible dynamic, and which is pretty amazing. And so, that kind of information that we, give, whether willingly or not, can be used against us in some way, shape, or form. And likely it's not going to be to our benefit. And so we're all kind of a semi-target. There's psychops that are kind of going on around us that we have not a clue as to know what's up. There's a lot of people out there like Amazing Polly, and the likes of some other YouTubers that are kind of spreading the truth, uncovering a lot of dynamics, and people are actually putting it out right in front of our noses. But the problem is we, as a society, the masses, being that we have all the power, because we are the majority, we're not going to do a damn thing about it. Because our forefathers knew it. And so that's why they made the Constitution, to protect us from us, because we need to be patriots and uphold what our forefathers set forth for us. We're going to wake up one day and it's going to be a different story. People who think that they're free are under a spell that they don't even know about, because that's something you have to maintain every day, and I'm guilty of it too. So, as we need to band together, there's more separation going on than you wouldn't believe. And fear is, outweighing the love. And when you have love, you don't need anything else. You're filled. You don't need to go buy those shoes to fill a void. You don't need to go and, treat people indifferently. When you're full of love, you're content. You have everything you need. And I think that we've kind of lost our ways and found out what we thought was the better alternative, and that is living in a fear-based society and letting ourselves conduct ourselves daily based on that. And when we have our neighbors that some people don't even really know or have not so nice things to say about them, doesn't matter. They're your neighbors. They're living next door to you. It's your job to maintain that relationship, to reach out to them, to show them the kind of person you are. And when things get heavy, they're the ones that are going to be, either sticking their head over the fence or staying as far away from you as possible. So I think that everybody, in their community should be responsible for knowing 3 houses down, to your left and to your right and behind you as well. Everybody should know your name. You should be able to, talk with them on a bi-monthly basis or even monthly basis, and just spend some time, maybe even have some meals with them, because that is going to save our butt moving forward in the not so certain times. Yeah, no one's perfect. Yeah, some people bump loud music and become obnoxious, but have a little love. We were all young once, and we all do things that we do not know that we're doing. And so if you just show a little bit of love, and it goes a long ways. So I'm going to end that with on a positive. Let's love our neighbor and know thyself, and learn to take our community into the future ahead of us, so that we are tight-knitted, not separated, and are able to make decisions as a neighborhood and a community. I think that's critical. All right, signing off. Hit the like button, subscribe, give me some content as far as some comments, and I will exchange the favor. Much love. Be safe.